Have you ever wondered that even with the busiest schedule of life, you can still have a successful vegetable garden? Well, in this video, I'm going to share about how you can do this if you are a city farmer. So the secret to having a successful vegetable garden that yields results as a city farmer is in deliberate supervision. So the biggest problem city farmers who do farming think, they think their only role is to provide capital and also make continuous visits in their garden to see how work is progressing. Let me tell you, it is beyond that. Some of them are just on the phone waiting to receive updates on what is really happening in their garden. And the people who work on the farm usually do their good job. They send you information on the fairing parts of the garden and leave out the parts that are really wanting. Or sometimes they share with you parts that where they have done the work, and the parts where they have not yet done the work, they will not always share, just to show you that things are going on. You see, the people on the farm sometimes also they keep asking for money for even relevant work and inputs that are not needed in your farm, and you keep on doing what? Keep on sending money every other time, because they are the experts of your garden, your investment. You yourself, you have no clue about the investment that you started from it. So your work is to just keep on sending money, because that's what you think you are there to do in your garden. So let alone you start to realize you're overspending money on the farm. It's now becoming costly for you to manage your garden. When you make the visits, you are so obsessed with the look of the farm than what actually is done to produce the results that people are getting for you on the farm. You are spending a lot of money, but there seems not to be any returns at all. This is the very reason why some of you are hating agriculture, because you're not doing the right things. It's the reason why many people quit, because of the expenses. You thought when you're starting, you'd have a business that will cover up your other expenses of life, but things, man, are not working out for you. Me, for the last 3 years, I've worked for client farmers who reside in the city. There's one thing I've realized they are missing out that is costing them a lot, and that is they have less involvement in the process that is done to produce the work that they need at the farm. So you see, one man said, when you are interested in something, you will do what is convenient. Just because you're interested, you will do what is convenient. But if you're committed to something, you do all it takes. So maybe you're not having the results in your garden because you're not committed to it. Because you see, most city people do not see agriculture as a real business, or if they do, they don't still treat it as it should be. Like other businesses, you know, no one invests in their hard-earned money and does not involve themselves in the process of what happens in the business. It's not there. Even when you employ technical people to help you do it, you must at least have the basics of what is involved in the whole process. You can't just invest your money in something you don't know about and you're just there expecting results. You see, you cannot supervise a thing whose practical by the way you don't even understand at all, because when you don't understand the process that happens in the garden, you also don't have the practical weight of what really happens in the garden. So to garden owners I have worked with, this is by the way very typical. It's a typical experience for those that I've worked with that work in the farm, that work in the city. So they only come to the farms to supervise the outputs, and then they skip the work that is needed to produce those results. You see, this is an important note you should note, that you don't supervise the outputs only, but you should also supervise the processes. This is very key thing for you to note. See, the output of a harvest, or the harvest you desire in your garden, is as a result of the processes involved to come up with. You should ask yourself questions like, how do they come up with these results? How do they produce this harvest? Who does what role? How do they make financial decisions? How is the money spent on the farm, and why do they spend it that way? Why do they have to buy this fertilizer? Was it needed at that stage? What practices are involved to produce this crop from start to finish? Because if you don't ask such questions, you won't get the results that you want. Because by this, you're able to, at least if you know what happens, you're able to eliminate things that you don't need on the farm. You're able to add on what is needed, you're able to improve what is needed. Of course, as you work with people that are on the farm to do that, to give you these results, you will have a when you know what to do, you'll have a realistic expectation of what must come out of your garden when you get really involved. Rather than not being involved, the expectations will be overrated, will be overly high for your people that are working for you, and you break them down. So you will not anticipate results whose processes you don't understand. So you expect a big harvest, but you don't understand the process that is involved to produce a big harvest. So when you understand the process, you'll be okay with what comes out of the garden, or you push more in case you see the gaps, because you understand the process of what really happens. So if you don't do this, you will start to hate farming. If you don't do this, you will hate farming, I'm telling you. So your exaggerated expectations won't match how much you're spending into the venture. You have a lot of expectations, but what is coming out is little, because you don't know what is involved. So the thought of it always will outweigh you. You will continuously will start to wonder, why am I spending much money in this venture but I'm getting little? So the truth is that you may not know, by the way, the whole science of the garden, but at least be interested in where your money is going. Know the basics of what is really happening in your garden. How do they produce tomatoes? How do they produce cabbages? How do they produce green pepper? Get to know the process. So the next, let's discuss how to manage or supervise your business as a person living in the farm, living in the city most of your time. So the important thing is management. Robert Kaushenga said this quote that caught my attention. He said, "You must supervise everything if you want it done. It is what you inspect that gets done, not what you expect." Let me repeat the quote again. You must supervise everything if you want it done. You must supervise everything. It is not what you inspect that gets done. It is what you inspect that gets done, not what you expect. So, but because why? You will never have a progressive improvement in your gardening journey if you continuously focus on the wrong things. You will need to strategically set yourself as a farmer who has become good at doing what they do. So if it's growing tomatoes, you need to become very, very good at growing tomatoes. You need to be known for it in the market or around the farmer communities or your circles. They need to know that you're very good at growing tomatoes. Usually at the start, the ways of growing a specific crop, of course, may be different. But if you're continuously learning and improving yourself as a farmer, there is always something that will be unique in how you grow. So that's what sets you apart in the market. And all this is possible. All this is not possible when you are not in the garden always. So because you see, me as a farmer consultant, after making losses growing crops at the start for my client, I realized that the success of your vegetable garden depends on 80% character and 20% knowledge. Now, not many talk about the process that gets people the yields they want. See, everyone shares about a good harvest, but when many people, other people start on their venture with this very, very excitement, they give up because things do not happen as they saw them on social media. You see, for me personally, I've set myself as a farmer consultant who helps beginner farmers master vegetable gardening faster in 3 growing seasons through sharing, of course, my resilience tips that I have helped me. That is what has set me, of course, above other people who are doing consultation. I share more of resilience tips than other farmers. They're just showing you how to grow. Me, I want to go beyond knowing how to grow, but sticking in to know what you need to do. So, but you can learn more about the things that you need to master in my beginner's guide that is shared in the description below. Search it out and it will help you. So the success of your garden depends on what you do and how you did to get the results. So it's the skills you develop over time that set you apart as a farmer in management. And management is about skills. It's an important thing. So because you need to, like I said, you need to grow to set yourself as a farmer who knows what they do. Like I said, when I was starting, you may not know all the science about growing, at least you must know the different things, because when they are seeing the tomato farmer, they're not seeing the people growing in your garden. They are seeing you, who is the owner of the garden. So you must know at least the little basics of what happens in the garden. So as a city farmer, you will need to improve your management skills for you to succeed, because management, deliberate management is everything. Deliberate management and supervision is everything for your successful garden as someone who's doing gardening in the city. Management skills are in two ways, by the way. They are in good agricultural practices and labor management. Those are the two things you need to know about management to become successful at growing the vegetable crop that you desire to grow. So let's talk about the good agricultural practices. So the activities that happen from transplant to harvest play a very important role in the quality and quantity of the harvest that come out of your vegetable garden. And most farmers just desire the quantity of the harvest that must come out of their gardens. It's for them, it's a big harvest that they line up on social media, but they forget this one thing that they keep missing out, that will set them apart time to time in the market, and this is the quality of the harvest. You see, if you take care of the quality of the harvest that come out of your garden, the quantity of the harvest will never be a problem. So you need to know the practices. When I say good agricultural practices, these are the practices that are involved to give you the quality. When you know the good agricultural practices, quantity is never the problem. So you need to know the practices that happen along your gardening journey, and of course the general practices for every vegetable farmer that must know to do timely, like weeding, mulching, irrigation, fertilization, and many more. But there are those specific practices that are designed for a specific crop that helps you yield the results. I always give example between determinate and indeterminate tomatoes. Their practices are different. The success of indeterminate tomatoes depends. The climbing tomatoes depends more on pruning and other practices. If you don't prune the indeterminate tomatoes, the climbing tomatoes, you will not get the harvest. So you need to know how to prune them. But for the determinate, yes, you may do the pruning, but it's not excessively, because you earn more by when they bush. The determinate are the ones that bush around. You earn more when they continue to spread around the ground. But for them, you earn more when they climb above. So you need to know there's different agricultural practices that are involved in your garden. So as a city farmer, get to know the practices that are involved in producing the crop that you desire. Like I said, you don't need to know all the science. You need to know a specific knowledge for you to be able to be involved in the process of management. So for you to get, by the way, if you need to get these gaps, you just go to the internet. This information is on the internet. Go and type in what are the good agricultural practices for your desired crop. So if you're growing tomatoes, you type in and say what are the good agricultural practices for growing tomatoes. Or if you don't know where to get this information, find a farmer who is already growing and they have results of what they are doing, or they have been going for over time. Let them teach you about the practices that they are doing. Write those things down. Get to know what activities are involved if you're going to do management. The other part of management is labor management. See, those that are at the farm or in your garden determine a lot on whether your vegetable garden will succeed or not. Because why? They are the ones that are involved in the process. The secret to the success of your venture, where you are not, is them. So they are the secret to the success of a venture where you are not. So because 95% of the time they will be directly doing the work that is meant to get you the harvests you want. And most of the time you will not be directly involved in your garden because you're always working in town, in the city, or sometimes you may not even be hands-on at all because the busy schedule that you are doing. But so these will always make the hands-on decisions on your garden that yields you the results, because you're not there. So they need to know what they are doing. They will gamble with your garden, and it will be loss upon loss if they don't know what to do. See, nothing hurts like an investor who keeps putting in their hard-earned money only to reach the garden and that is continuously in losses season after season. Your crops keep dying because of the silly mistakes these people working on your garden are doing. And sometimes the hurting thing is that the team workers in your garden are working so hard toward another direction separate from your expectations, because you're not in line with them. You guys don't have the same expectation. So there's 3 things that you'll need to work on to make sure that the team workers on your garden are equipped to give you the results that you want, that they know what to do. They know what to do to give the results. So number 1 is the mindset. The biggest reason many beginner gardens struggle is because the owners of the garden have separate expectations from what the people they employ in the gardens have. So working as a farm manager this year and maybe last year, I realized that team workers I was leading always wanted to please the owner of the farm with good food he gets when he comes to visit the farm. And for me, I was always tired. I always tried to show them that what the owner of this garden needs is profits and not just the food that you guys give him, because he can buy this food in the market. Besides, of course, there's a beauty of getting food from your market, from your own farm, but you need money. You started this business to get to get money. So in the end, the owner of the farm was always stressed about the increasing costs of the farm, because why? Of course, he would be happy people would give him food, but with season time, he realized he was putting in a lot of money and he was not getting the results. He was not getting the profits he desired. Because see, the truth is that what your team workers give you in your garden is the representation of your own expectations. What you expect is what they will give you. So if you don't see those results you want, just know that you didn't communicate your expectations on the farm very well. Or if you think you did not follow up as you were supposed to. If the harvest didn't come out as well as you expected, at least there should be indicators that you're heading in the right direction. Of course, not all the time that they will give you the desired harvest, but sometimes you need to make sure that at least you're heading in the right direction. You should at least see a future improvement of what you desire. So because this gets easier when you also get involved in the process to produce the results. You should be deliberate to know what activities the workers do from seed to harvest. If possible, know what is happening every other week. If it means you going to the farm to participate in some of the activities with the workers, do so. Even when you employ an expert to help you out with technical work in your garden, you must also get involved somehow in your garden. So see, nothing motivates workers or pushes them to do as expected to do in the garden than when they see the owner also getting involved in their business. So when you are involved, you understand the weight of the tasks that are really and really have a sense of appreciation of what people are doing in the garden. You're not ever exaggerated about the results. So you see, because if you cannot motivate your workers beyond the money you pay them, you'll endlessly keep shifting them, and that only will slow your progress. So your goal as a garden owner is to make sure everyone working for you is headed in the same direction as you are, and that is my mindset. The other thing that you should improve with your workers is their skill set. Myron Golden says talk is cheap, but skill is priceless. People can talk, but if you don't have the skill, they're doing nothing. So you'll keep gambling with the garden work if you are not deliberate about the people who work for you. If you're not going to do the work in your garden yourself, make sure people who you employ have the right skills to do the job. You see, the gap to great quality and quantity harvest is having the skill to do those things. For you to have the great quality and quantity harvest that you desire, the gap that is lacking always is the skill to do those things. Do the people know what to do? Are they good at growing the tomatoes if you have put them on the farm rather than just guessing? And you should be very sure and know that they actually know. if they don't know, if you also don't know, please bring in a technical person to train them how to do the things, instead of you being there and making losses, because it will cost you very, very much. So if sometimes the people we bring in on the farm, sometimes they know what to do. So allow them to do it with a better improvement, while encouraging them to improve, because some of the farmers come, of course they have methods of growing that are indigenous and local and are slow in growth and the expectation. So encourage them to improve, because sometimes by the working as a farm manager, this is one thing that I realized. I always learned many practical things other farmers do that I did not learn in the books. Sometimes these farmers that we work with do their jobs way much better than we could do, and that's what I realized, that they would do much better than some of the things I knew to do, but they would practically know how to do it even better than. So I would always let them to do it so well, and just keep and watch them, and also learn from them, but also encourage them or to learn better ways of how to do something better. So to be a better farmer, also set yourself in the market, to know what skills are present in your garden, multiply and improve them. Your workers, teach them to do, multiply them, let them be learning better ways of producing something. Or if there are gaps that you need to fill in the work, always do so. Make sure that people are improving. So that's how we improve forward and produce long-lasting success. So the last one is tool set, and this is a simple one. So our tools simplify the work on the farm. The tools that you have on the farm, whether you have a tractor, whether you have a hose, whether you have knapsack sprayers, fertilizers and everything, these farmers need to know how to use these tools for them to give you what they desire. So some of the tools are used directly in the garden, while some are used off garden. So garden tools can be like hose, can be like tractors, sprayers, pesticides, fertilizers, irrigation systems. Off garden tools can include like record systems. It can be like books of physical software. So make sure that people in the garden know how to use these tools to give you the desired results, or otherwise you'll be losing out. So a quick recap: your greatest skill for you as a person who is working in the city is to do management, and management is in form of two: good agriculture practical skills and labor management. You need to know the processes that are involved in the whole thing, how the crops are produced, by knowing the good agriculture practical skills. But then the other thing is, you need to make sure that your labor is well equipped.